I'm going to say that most of the people haven't invested in cryptocurrency at all. So what percentage of a portfolio seems reasonable to you to split between stocks versus crypto?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think, look, Tyler and I, we joke, we don't have our skin in the game. We have our bodies in the game. We are long Bitcoin, Ethereum, a couple other projects, and we obviously founded Gemini. We're the sole investors in Gemini. We're sort of all in, and heavily weighted crypto. But I think maybe a starting point for investors would to sort of look to see if you do have a gold allocation. What is that? Is that between 1% and 5% of your portfolio? And then ask yourself, this new form of gold, like, should you have some exposure? And whether that's, taking all of your gold exposure and putting to Bitcoin or some fraction of it. But I think that Tyler and I wrote a thought piece on why we think Bitcoin is worth $500,000 a coin. In August, the Bitcoin was trading around 13,000 a coin. And we used the gold framework to back into that price per Bitcoin. And at $50,000 Bitcoin, yes, it's appreciated 5 times, but we believe there's another 10x in it within the decade, potentially more, because Bitcoin can really reach more people than gold because of its properties. And so I think that I can't think of another investment that offers the kind of asymmetric return over the next decade. And so, if that's 1% of your portfolio, that becomes 10%. That's a pretty awesome return. With a worst case scenario, you've lost sort of 1%, but you've got that 10% or 10x upside. So it's also, I think that Bitcoin is not just like an asset; it's really like a movement. It sort of kicked everything off, the decentralization of the world, and I think that it really should be viewed under the lens of a invention or innovation that is as powerful as the internet. And the problem with the internet is it's hard. You have to pick companies. You can't really index the entire internet. I guess you could buy a basket of stocks, but early on, if you could actually buy property on the internet, that would be like the best way to do it. With Bitcoin, you can buy property of the network, and with Ethereum, you can buy property of the network. So these are movements, and when you sort of talk to millennials and Gen Z, and I think millennials will become a huge percentage of the workforce within the next decade, you don't have to explain to them why they want software instead of hardware and physical gold. It's understood. You don't have to convince them. They're already in crypto. They already live online. They see and they understand fluently where it's going. So it's sort of a bet also that all these individuals that are coming into the workforce and starting to earn value, where are they going to store it? And they're not going to store it in the IBMs or the blue chip equities, I think, as much. I think they're going to put into crypto. And so it's really a index on the future. I think that's the right way to look at it. And so how much do you want to allocate to the future? We've seen what FANG has done in the past decade. People would have thought, and you could have said, in 2014, you're late to Amazon. It's like, I don't know, 5x from 2014. And I don't think it's slowing down. And because these companies are sort of building into the future, and they've got incredible network effects, and Bitcoin and Ethereum are networks. The more people that sort of adopt and enter these networks, the more value. They follow Metcalfe's law, which is n squared. The more nodes or participants. It's like buying a cell phone. Every new person, if there's only one person with a cell phone on the planet, it's not very useful technology. If you buy a cell phone, all of a sudden, without knowing it, you've made mine have more utility and more value. And so you can't take the company model or discounted cash flow when looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum. You have to look at them as really networks of money and value, and they're incredibly powerful. and they have incredible growth potential. So that's sort of the lens. I would not take, the DCF company model that Warren Buffett, uses. And that's why he doesn't really get Bitcoin, because he's not paid to see the future. He's paid to find things that are cheap. And I don't think he ever will get Bitcoin, and that's okay.